Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer, out on another exploration. And this is yet another of my explorations of Cumbria. And I'm joined, as ever, by the lovely Robert Croser.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello all.
Now, we've come to a rather super place today.
We have, yes.
Where are we?
We are in the Lowther estate,
Right.
which is just south of Penrith in Cumbria. And this is where we are going to walk up to Lowther Castle. It's a magnificent ruin, very fairy tale. It makes Downton Abbey look like Coronation Street. It's incredible.
We're starting here by what must be the gatehouse behind us. And if you can look beyond the gatehouse, you'll see that there's a green entrance, I suppose. It's grassed over now, but I'm imagining that back in the 18th century that would have been a driveway.
Yes, it was.
And carriages would have come up, and you would have come through this incredibly impressive limestone or sandstone.
I would say limestone or granite myself.
And a gateway, and you'd bring your carriages up to here because you are then instantly faced with the castle itself. Robert, we're going to find out a little bit about it. You're going to tell me about it as we walk up the grand stairs and enjoy the spectacle. Who owned the castle then?
It is still owned by the same family, the Earls of Lonsdale, as in the Lonsdale boxing belt. But the most famous Earl was Hugh Lowther, and he was the 5th Earl. Known locally as the Yellow Earl, not because he was a coward, he was anything but. He liked the colour yellow. He was one of the great British eccentrics.
Gosh. Is he the one that had the yellow Rolls Royces? Yes,
he had a fleet of yellow Rolls Royces, and he decked out his footmen in yellow. Most of his staff wore yellow. He was quite a character. The photographs of him, he had quite a twinkle in his eyes.
Did he?
I'm sure I'd love to have met him. When he inherited the titles and all the land, I think it was 1872, 1873, he got an entitlement of £4,000 from the estate. Not a year, a week.
A week? Back then, 4,000.
4,000.
What time period are we talking? Let's have a little stroll.
We're talking mid-Victorian, about the 1870s when he took over from his father.
So what would that be now? £4,000?
I wouldn't even begin to guess.
You can speculate for yourself. Yes. That's a lot. So he had a lot of money. What did he do with it?
Spent it. My God, did he spend his money?
I see.
He lived life to the full. Right. He had no children. He was married.
Yes.
But his wife had some kind of accident and she couldn't have children.
Oh dear.
So he and his wife lived life to the full. He held lavish balls. You can imagine what kind of balls he had there.
Yes.
He travelled abroad. He probably, in fact, I'm more or less certain he had certain mistresses, as they all did back then.
Yes. But
he lived life to the full. He spent all his wealth. It came from local mines and the land, but he spent every penny of it, more or less.
So what happened? He spent the money, and here it is, because this is in ruin. Not all of it is in ruin.
No.
There's a bit that's still lived in, as you say, because the family still live here. Let's just have a look over this wall.
Certainly.
So what happened then when all the money went? Clearly this place has gone to rack and ruin since.
Yes, when he got into his 60s, he died when he was 83. He had a good full life. When he got into his 60s, the money seriously started to run out. So he sold off a lot of land. He owned other castles. He sold them off. He owned big houses in London. He sold them off just to keep this place going. I mean, he had a lot of famous visitors. I believe the Kaiser came here.
Really?
Kaiser Wilhelm II. That was him that started the First World War. I'm sure Queen Victoria, some crowned heads of Europe came here as well. But he lived his life. There's no getting away from it. He had a good life when he was rich enough to spend it. When he died, it was left to his brother, Lancelot. Now, Lancelot had a bit more of a business head on his shoulders. He realised he couldn't afford to keep a huge house like this going, so he sold the contents off, all the treasures, the suits of armour, the paintings, the furniture, everything. He sold the contents off and offered the house to the National Trust. Back then, this was in the late 40s, 50s, they strangely turned him down.
Gosh, maybe
Probably
it was too much for him.
Maybe it was too much. So just to avoid everything, he had the roof taken off and let it go to rack and ruin.
And here it is. This is the ruin. It's an incredible building. I mean, just standing here in front of these enormous windows, the rooms, you can only imagine, must have been quite palatial.
I've seen
and the trappings that went with it.
Yeah, I've seen old sepia photographs of how it looked inside, and there's suits of armour everywhere, there's coats of arms, there's huge tapestries. It's as you would imagine a baronial house to be.
Yeah,
you know, it was incredible.
Let's go and stand under the main entrance here. It is a very grand entrance with beautiful masonry work.
Yes.
And again, you get that sense, don't you, of what it must have been like to be a guest, to arrive here, and what a view beyond.
It's absolutely incredible.
Looking here through the
avenue of trees ran more or less in a straight line towards Penrith, where he had his own private station.
Had his own private station? That's
yes,
amazing.
His own waiting room. He would sit there and send his staff out to meet dignitaries and what have you, and he had his own waiting room there where he would sit there and puff on his cigars. He was a chain smoker. He spent £400 a month on cigars alone.
Well, he could afford it, or he really afford it, because he lost his money.
He did eventually. Spent the lot.
Let's have a look through the doors. There's some holes here so we can get a sense. I mean, these doors are just enormous. They must be at least 15 foot above me. And have a look through to see what you would have seen. Yeah, there's children walking around in there, but you wouldn't have seen that. Absolutely impressive in its day. Now,
how high it is, you can imagine it. Incredible.
Well, I must apologise for the strimming noises in the background. There's a couple of young ladies there who are working on the estate, just keeping the place looking nice, because it is open to the public.
It is open to the public. You can explore the gardens and the actual inside of the house itself. They've consolidated the ruined part. The current Earl's quite the businessman. He's opened the grounds up to the public. He's renovated some of the house. He's actually got a local mountain that he owns for sale.
I'm sorry, hang on, got to just compute that. He's got a local mountain.
He has, yes. He owns quite a lot of land still. He's quite a nice chap from what I've heard of him. He's got a mountain called Blencathra, known locally as Saddleback, up for sale for, I think, £2 million.
Now I'm just going to check my pocket money.
Yes.
I'll get to the piggy bank, the Vobes piggy bank. Maybe ask the patrons if they could support me and buy a mountain. Yes. My goodness. I wonder who would buy a mountain.
I would imagine the National Trust.
Yeah.
But what can you do with it? It's a mountain. I've actually walked up that mountain a couple of times, and it is impressive. It's one of my favourite mountains in the lakes. It's easy to get to. It's easy to get up. It's very high, and the view is to die for.
Well, I think we'll take one more walk to the steps here to say thank you very much. You can go in, you pay to go round and see the internal features. We haven't actually done that because we've got some other videos to go and make.
Yes.
But actually, for me, this is the most striking part, the view up here ahead. You can put your imagination into Fifth Drive or whatever and just picture the life it must have had. As you say, makes Downton Abbey look a bit drab, really.
Yes.
It's very grand. So with the sound of strimming going on in the background, Robert, thank you so much for
You're very welcome,
me here.
Richard. You're very welcome.
Absolutely splendid. And on this video, no comedy hat and no rain.
Yes,
What a blessing.
and it's all English.
It's all English. Absolutely. So join us again. We're going to look at some other elements on the Lowther estate.
Yes, we are. Yes,
The village
yes.
is lovely, and the church is also reputed to be lovely. So you
It
can have a
is.
look at that.
It is. It's wonderful.
So till the next one, thanks for watching. Don't forget to follow, like and subscribe. Become a patron, support what we do. A little bit of a donation really helps to get me out and about and explore this wonderful country. But until next time, from Robert and I, goodbye.
Toodle pip.
Toodle pip.